Freedom, Truth, and Beauty by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Dedication to the Daughters of the American Revolution. 1. What lineage so noble as from sires laureled by freedom? For who but the brave have glory to transmit? The hero's grave blooms ever. It is there the spirit retires to dream to flowers her heart and soul desires. When winter's whitening wind, like wash of wave, sweeps mausoleums of the skulk and knave from mounts of glare off to oblivion's mires. The bloom for which mere wealth lacks length of arm, and fainting time takes for reviving scent. Fame, with bright eyes from heart and soul content, forms wreaths for valor's daughters, crowns that charm, not with death smells from human welfare rent, but breath of country's rescue from dire harm. 2. Those crowns, not cold from death's sweat on the brow, at sight of apparitions with fixed stare, but warm with summer, conjuring beauties rare, wilt not. They are dewed daily by your vow, daughters of sires who to no thrall would bow, which at the altar with raised hand ye swear, cheering the blessed spirits gathered there, that like their mothers are their daughters now. True women, and therefore craft foilers clever, with sons for your heart's utterance, ye sue not, but like Barry to the British crew ye cry out, What? We strike our colors? Never. Fie shot, fie gold. These colors, since they drew their first star breath, are God's, and God's forever. 3. Ye know the leopard changes not his spots. The Prince of Peace, who spake eternal truth, confirmed this fact of nature. He with ruth omniscient saw afar the scarlet clots of English nature in perfidious plots for conquest, mangling not alone brave youth with teeth set, but old age without a tooth, and mothers clutching up their bleeding tots. O yea, this beast makes his own desert still, and Ireland, India, and Egypt show his spots so spread, he is one ghastly glow. Aye, as your sires saw him from Bunker Hill. O vain gold rubs the skin, and press shouts low. It has not now one spot of threatening ill. 4. O daughters of the brave, well ye abjure the fiend and all his works. Ye know his smiles are firefly flare at gloaming, lighting miles of snake-bowed forests down to swamps, impure from mind and soul decay. Hence our heart sure that creed and racial hatreds are his wiles. For God is love, and love draws, reconciles, and is the strength that makes our land endure. O mothers, as you lift your babes and gaze into their eyes, your love runs through their veins in crimson flushes. O your love that pains at any of God's creatures' hurt, that stays the heavens may pass away, but that remains, being of Christ, who walks earth mother ways. 5. O, like your sires, you too know freedom's worth to human spirit. For its liberation, a God unrealmed himself by tribulation, and was an outcast on a scornful earth. Christ is no myth, and since with human birth he forms new heavens for blissful habitation, thereunto is the freedom of the nation. All other trend is down to dark and dearth. When from the darkness rainbowed birth comes pouring, your virtue heeds the voice eternity. Re-echoes, let them come. 'Tis nature's plea for broadening progress. Nay, 'tis God employing the human to take strength for liberty. Truth, honor, to catch up to the stars a-soaring. 6. O daughters of brave sires, what is true glory? No marsh ward falling star, however bright. 'Tis inspirational, its upward flight lifts generations, such as your father's story, and also yours, for is that not, too, gory? You pour out your heart's blood in sons to fight for honor, and cease not till every right has been set down in triumph's inventory. O into daughters too, old noble mothers, you pour out your heart's blood, that in your place they may fill up the ranks, and, as in case of Molly Pitcher, man guns for their brothers, and hearten firm the trembling race to know, though brave men fall, there still comes others. 7. If Christ's foreshadowing in Judah's haze was of his grief, 'tis of his triumph here. For is not his celestial glory clear in freedom for all men? First gaseous rays in Maryland, then rounded firm full blaze in the Republic, it draws every sphere of human welfare, whether far or near, from depths occult to nights with dawns and days. The freedom of the generations longing reflects Lord Christ in glory hour by hour, with more distinctness, as you, with his power, free heart and brain from every brother wronging, and give your offspring these, as flesh and dower, to live and lead the millions hither thronging. 8. O ever mothers, shaping robust youth, no less than infant, and as perfectly. There's lifeblood to their veins from when on knee to win thy battle, from your broadening ruth for humankind and fervent love of truth. If like their fathers they have come to be the wonder of the world for liberty, your virtue 'tis that in their valor greweth. O as the Roman mother, when she showed for jewels her two sons, saw each of them in time's tiara, glittering there a gem, so see your offspring shine. The light bestowed your fathers in your sons is diamond flame, encircling freedom's ocean wall abode. 9. Is it apocalyptic vision when white-winged Columbus swoops from Spain's palmed shore, and from dark depths lifts at San Salvador a continent, adrip with streams which then become the fountain of the psalmist's ken, where right the heart, from hoof to horn foam hoar, from craggy speed slakes thirst, and evermore comes hope's whole clattering herd? You chant, Amen. I for your sires made earth this new creation, where from San Salvador and Plymouth Reef to westward mission trails ascends belief in God, and therefore in the soul's salvation through freedom, in white spiral spray which grief sees, spite earth mists or solar obscuration. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Proem by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Soar thou aloft, though thou ascend alone, O human spirit, thou canst not be lost. What though yon stars the azure's nightly frost melt dark, or mount round thee an arctic zone? Thou hast sun warmth and star source of thine own. If thou mount not, how bitter is the cost! What anguish when whirled down or tempest tossed, to know how high toward God thou mightst have flown. Vault Godward, poet. What though few may climb the mountain and the star on trail of thee? Thy wing flash beams toward man, and if it be true inspiration, whether thought sublime, or fervor for the truth or liberty, thy light will reach the earth in goodly time. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Atlantic by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Forming the great Atlantic, see God take the mist from woe's white mountain, spring and stream, the breath of man in frost, the spiral lean from roof-cracked caves, where though the heart may break, the soul will not lie torpid like the snake and battle smoke. On them he breathes with dream, and lo, an angel with a sword agleam, twixt the old world and new, for justice's sake. What sea so broad as that from human weeping, or sun so flaming as the angel's sword, of human and divine wills in accord? There, with sword flash of myriad waves, Joy leaping shall loom forever, freedom's watch and ward, with the new world in his seraphic keeping. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Human Freedom by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. This is thy glory, man, that thou art free. 'Tis in thy freedom thy resemblance lies to thy Creator. Nature, which tide-wise is flood and ebb, bounds not sky flight for thee. Lo, as the sun arises from the sea, startling all beauty Godward, thou dost rise with mind to God in heaven from finite ties, and there in freedom thou art great as he. Meeting thy God with mind, 'tis thine to choose, whether to follow him with love and soar, or dream him myth and rather than adore, plunge headlong into nature's whirl and ooze. Thine is full freedom. Ah, could God do more to liken thee to him, and love infuse? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Stars by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. God loves the stars, else why star-shape the dew for the unbreathing, shy, heart-hiding rose? And when earth darkens and the north wind blows, why into stars flake every cloud's black brew? What fitter forms for longings high and true, man's hopes, ideals, than bright orbs like those aspine from nature's dawn to nature's close, in clusters, prisming every dazzling hue? Nor is the sun with harvests in its heat, and that sky hidden makes the moon at night, an earthward cascade for its leaps of light more real, or a world force more complete than faith and hope that break through clouds with sight of evil's foil and ultimate defeat. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Genesis of Freedom by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. O freedom, born amid resplendent spheres, and with godlike creative power endowed, hast thou, to human's life's blue depths, not vowed a splendor, not alone like that which peers at present, where the upper azure clears, but that the nebulae will yet unshroud? I hear thy far-off cry where thou art alone, a John the Baptist, lo, one greater nears. What is this greater, this which is to meet the planets and ascend high, high, and higher? The right of human spirit to aspire, and mount, unhampered, and by act complete creation's harmony, as by desire, proclaimed by brain with throb, by heart with beat. 2. In thy descent through azures all aglow with circling spheres, the beauty of each blaze, and grandeur then of all entrance thy gaze. Thou thinkest, why not thus all life below? Perceiving then that all the breezes blow upward and onward in the skyey maze, thou wouldst go back and start with them to raise a new creation from chaotic throe. Thou seest plainly that without that breeze, the breath of God, all thou couldst create were lifeless, save to turn on thee with hate, and chase an age with grim atrocities. But with that breath, thou couldst raise life to mate the planet's splendor in the azure's peace. 3. O freedom, as thy sister spirit spring, pausing above the earth, sees every hue of her prismatic crown, reflected true in forests and in fields, and fledglings' wing, so thou dost see thy spirit glorying with faith that man is more than nature's spew, in human spirit that from beauty drew first breath to know that soul is more than thing. O freedom, fain we follow thee in flight, From chaos to God's glory round and round. Aloft, how like an elk pursued by hound, to brinks thou springest toward the distant height, and on bent knees then speedest without sound, like faith through death, till lo, thou dost alight. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Pilgrim Fathers by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Ye reaches who would lay proud England's head upon the block, and raise her features then, bloodless and ghastly, for the scorn of men. Be gone forever. Go where terrors spread their sea and forest mouths to crush you dead. Oh, how the clouds shall crimson from each glen, a roar with blaze, and flames search out each fen, if back to us, yea, ere are vomited. To this parental blessing and Godspeed the Pilgrim Fathers gladly made reply. The waves are conscience's wings along the sky. They carry us to God, whose call we heed, the further from thy coast of hate and lie, the nearer God. On, that is our creed. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Plymouth Rock by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. O sun and stars, bear ye earth's thanks to God. For oh, what waters, slaking every thirst of heart, mind, spirit, in long cascades burst from Plymouth Rock when struck by freedom's rod. No wanderer in the burning sand unshod plods man with lolling tongue, dog-like as erst. For lo, this fountain, deepening from the first, floods earth's old wells and greens life's sand to sod. O, more those waters than the fount of youth, for which through field and swamp the Spaniard ran. For they are clear with God's eternal truth of fatherhood, hence brotherhood of man, and are no dream. They quench all human drouth, and cleanse man's desert dust of sect and clan. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Catholics in Maryland by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Of expeditions in the Arctic past, all honor to the one that reached the pole and formed a settlement where every soul enjoyed full freedom. There, above the blast, how musical the bell by justice cast. It welcomed all to come. It ceased to toll after a while, but why? Those, welcomed, stole and dragged it where the ice formed thick and fast. Of Arctic expeditions there is none so profitable to the human race as that towards freedom's pole, and hence men face all storms to reach it. If they fail, the sun has but one joy, to thaw out wrecks and trace man's progress where alone it can be done. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Forest for the King's Hawks by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Say, what is majesty without externals? Is Burke's analysis not right, a jest? Ah, but a jest at which the poor oft pressed to their last heart-drop, laugh not like court journals. The king needs coin, and where he sowed no kernels, wants the whole forest for his hawks to nest and breed in, and become an annual pest. In this the farmers show that they discern ills. Hark, blares the tyrant's horn, and in a thrice the Tories gather. Eagerly they band, for is the king not greater than the land? And rouse with royalty a rabble's vice? Besides, what creeping tribes at his command, and spies and Hessians at a ferret's price. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To Arms Shouts Freedom by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. To arms shouts freedom to her sons. Behold, how like Job's war horse they gulp down the ground to battle. What care they how foes surround? Oh, joy to Celts, nigh half the true and bold, there with the roar of all their wrongs uprolled, from ancient depths they dash with billow bound up rock and summit and through cave and mound, spurning both tyrants' steel and treason's gold. No tide are they to ebb in heart and spirit. If dashed back, they return with all the force of 6 dark seas' momentum on its course for vengeance on the vile who disinherit the human being, shut off every source of happiness, or let but serfs draw near it. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. British Soldiery by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. The wounded Sidney, who despite his thirst gave water to his comrade, shines a lamp in the Cimmerian dark of Britain's camp. Even the Raleigh, who so finely versed, preferred to such a light the flame accursed of sword and torch to please a royal vamp. Is British triumph in its worldwide tramp to hell still lower than the lowest, Milton's worst? Lord Christ, is British soldiery the swine in whose gross forms the fiends excised flew? Oh, watch them through the ages, they pursue the noble and devour all things divine. Look, they illustrate horrors which prove true to hell, which Milton's glimpse could not outline. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Amphibious Berry by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Look, freedom glares and pallid as a ghost, except for gashes on her brow and breast, and faint from hunger sits a while to rest. Amphibious Berry, bold on sea or coast, mounts and spurs darkness to the Tory host, and like an Indian rider with head pressed down to his steed's hot neck in prowess test, plucks from the ground a prize he well may boast. Oh, as the sun's smile passing through the rain shines forth a double arch, so Berry's deed, refleshing freedom's bones made gaunt by need, shines through the ages, aye, and shines forth twain, both for America from Britain freed, and Erin still choked black in Britain's chain. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Freedom's Triumph by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. With France and Erin heartening Washington, prone freedom rose with head above the cloud. Beholding her transfigured, thrall is cowed. His minions are bewildered, how they run. Some follow him against the rising sun, others plod north. The Tories' vaster crowd hide in dark places, and like Satan, proud, they hate the glory that the true have won. O Milton, thou beheldest them, thine ear caught their defiance, and thy lightning pen, in shattering the dark in evil's den, caught hope amphibious from leer to leer, of those grim shadows plotting to regain lost paradise or bane its atmosphere. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Washington's Army and Berry's Navy by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Who loosed our hand from Britain's numbing hold? They who had naught to lose, the Tories say. That is, not menials in the king's sure pay, nor mongrels chained to guard their master's gold. They were true men, their spirit young and bold, with dreams played fellow master, climbing day from deepest night to catch the sun and stay his glory for the world, then whiting cold. Though darkness be far vaster than the lamp, it is the beams that lead to progress count, to manhood with the virtues to surmount such darknesses as valley forges camp, and seas, deep hell's sky-reaching, broadening fount, honor, the ages shout on triumph's tramp. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Sunken Continent by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. When hurled from heaven, 'tis thought, the fiends of pride caught earth to break their fall. The regions gave and sank with all the hosts beneath the wave. 'Tis in those sunken regions which divide the new world of the resolute and brave from the old world of king and abject slave, where Tories, counterfeiting Satan, hide. Clinging like lava to a lifeless limb, they think the phosphorescence of the bark is morning, which the long-belated lark is hastening to welcome with his hymn. Else they form poisons and breathe from the dark, miasma mist to make the sunrise dim. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Elisha Brown by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Old Guard of Boston, halt, right face, attention. Order 1. Quell the weeds in rankest riot where lies Elisha Brown in conscience quiet. This Brown was John's precursor. Ye on pension for ancient glory now do duty. Mention Elisha's name for countersign. And why it? Because with him wrong seen was to defy it, and act else was beyond his comprehension. Against his home's invasion this man held a redcoat regiment for 17 days, which was a spark to help start freedom's blaze. And therefore Order 2. The weeds all quelled, stand sentries till a statue takes your place, and throngs shout, Bravo Brown, as 'tis unveiled. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Evacuation Day by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. What is it today we celebrate with school recital, banquet, and parade of our achievements pageanting each trade? The ousting of the English, train and trait, and posting then sharp-eyed eternal hate to watch with Joshua's son above his head that night come not to help them re-invade, however wide we swing our ocean gate. If not un-Englishing America in mind and heart forever, vain the shrieks of freedom, eagling back to dawn's first streaks. O yea, the sun stands, and the night afar holds thrall, whose craft would swamp our noblest peaks, and leave but bubbling mud show where they are. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Manhattan by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Manhattan, glory flings his arms round thee and proudly holds thee in his high caress. What charms him, mother, is thy nobleness of spirit. How his features beam to see thy scorn dash in the bay the tyrant's tea, and hear thee call to Boston, do no less. Else on sunlight, heart, soul, all we possess, will tyrants next exact their deadly fee. In thee I glory. Can the world else boast a harbor like thy heart for every sail in flight from sea toss, white with horror's gale, or icebergs from despondence polar coast? O fleets whose throngs glad freedom well may hail, For landing, they become her staunchest host. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Burning of Washington City by the British by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. With what wild glee the British set on fire yon Capitol, beholding in its flames America, robed in her deeds and fames, in death throes at the stake of England's ire? Though that was long ago, and then no pyre, the stake still stands. 'Tis Anglo-Saxon claims, and Arnold's, bearing infamy's last names, tilt schools to raise the stake flames higher and higher. O sight to strike the coming ages dead, my country were a cloud, thy mocking crown, and schools ignited by truth's lamps hurled down, to feed that cloud, like craters inly red. What? Mock with cloud thy land and sea renown, and Washington, God's Holy Spirit known, by the unerring world light that it shed? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Land of the Great Spirit by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Behold ye here the happy hunting grounds, where the Great Spirit, called democracy, sets every heart and soul forever free, and equity, not royal grant, sets bounds. No Phaeton attempting Phoebus rounds, and burning up earth's grass and forestry, is lust for power. 'Tis love for liberty, with bloom and birds for wheel sparks here resounds. It is the land of spirit. Ye who enter, abandon first all fratricidal hate, proclaims the edict blazoned o'er each gate. There see all tribes chase truth to joy, the centre convexing broad and broader, as more great their numbers from where prejudice is mentor. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Blight to Spring by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Hark, 'tis the sea. How leonine its roar! But oh, how more the lion on a height, as there he glares and listens for the night, having devoured day's clouds from shore to shore. Now grows his mane of billows high and hoar. What scents he? Potencies escaping sight, till like the cold they icily alight upon a land where all was spring before. The sun darts under earth and east again. What sees he? First the lion at earth's brink, with head down to the stream of stars to drink, and then, arising to his zenith ken, sees that which makes his high warm spirit sink, the blight to spring blown here from England's fen. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Scorn of Human Rights by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. What is the blight to spring that kills the seed and raises spectres so that stars cry, see? Aghast at forests white or shadowy? The scorn of human rights that can but lead the world from doom to doom. And for what meed? A bronze for rain and rust, or effigy for nibbling minutes, not hours. These flee to life's progression, truth and kindly deed. Look, how this scorn holds free men in the dark, except for a flare at will, that, then, the throng, reduced to dust, may rise and whirl along, the lift and drop of glitter, without spark, to set the spring a-crackling with bird song, till bud and angel both come out to hark. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Not This Our Country's Glory by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. O country of the sun's warm plenteous hand to every germ of virtue, how below thy progress mope gold-mongers to and fro, who think their vaulting from sunlight so grand it forms thy chiefest glory. Closely scanned they are gross worms, each with the thought to grow the conqueror, as staged by Edgar Poe, for darking planets and a world last manned. Those worms that moving think they move the earth, or under growth's equestrian statue think they hold the horse and hero from the brink, are pitifully not a glance's worth as of thy glory. They but foul the chink, if not of thee in warming good to birth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. America's Glory No Fugitive by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. How weird is a whisper! 'Tis from Wallabout. 'Tis glory hoarse with calling. Raise those hulks where writhe my faithful. See, the Tory skulks behind the sun, who stooping to fill out their throats with his God breath, to swell the shout of a free people, finds the brave in bulks, strewn and held fast where darkness, beaten, sulks, that thrall has been forever put to rout. Those mangled thousands are not dead, they live refashioned men by freedom. Is the Tory behind the sun to mock me, who am glory, being the lifted life those martyrs give? He creeps beneath the sun, and ghastly, gory, cries out, Thou yet shall be the fugitive. 2. Oh, weirder grows the whisper into word, as sharp as lightning, and as broad of reach as seas, flung down by God to every beach where thirsts a sparrow or a bleating herd. There is no soul throughout the land not stirred. For oh, to glory God gives his own speech when darkness, raised by gold, declares that each, hulk-held, is good but for the wolf and bird. Is gold grown conscious now the country's king that at his beck the blood for freedom spilt shall be accursed, and I then for the guilt of dropping not with thud, as he with ring at darkness' feet, be shut in mud and silt, forever and with stars cease beaconing? 3. Oh, as the earth in discord and in dark, when struck by love on high with will for mace, keeps rattling till each mote finds its true place, and mountain, fledged with groves, vies with the lark to reach the sunrise, so the madness stark of gold, dethroning blood as God's best grace, when struck by glory's voice drops nadir bass, and blood for freedom spilt forms heaven's blue arc. The shouts of millions shake oblivion's mire, and raise thralls' hulks. Look, justice's stooping sun, seeing in agonies each a Washington, breathes life in them, and over Brooklyn's spire and New York's babbled tower, they, one by one, hold liberty's brooding torch of quenchless fire. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Hate Thou Not Any Man by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Hate thou not any man, for at the worst he still is brother. Will a glance not find whole peoples alchemied from heart and mind to steal projectiles by a craft accursed by human nature? Aye, for as they burst at dusk or midnight, slamming heaven behind and crashing hell wide open, 'tis mankind is shattered and quick gulping grave slake thirst. Hate thou no man, but scorn all crafts that smelt the heart and mind for huge projectiles, shattered when bursting grandly that some pride be flattered. Nature beholds not Saxon, Slav, or Celt. She only sees the human fragments scattered, and covering them, her eyes to rivers melt. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Celtic Soul Cry by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. O freedom, have I ever been untrue? When to thy moan of hunger anywhere have I been deaf? Was I not quick to share my little, nay, give all? For, oh, I knew thy beauty, and my love such passion grew at thy distresses, what would I not dare? So though the bellow, like a grizzly bear, reared up before me, on to thee I flew. O freedom, is thy beauty without heart or sense of justice? Unto whom thou art indebted for thine arm, encircling now the world sun-like more than to me? My part I glory in, for I have kept my vow. I hold thee now to thine, if true thou art. 2. Speak, freedom. When a haggard fugitive, thy dwelling was a swamp, who first traced thy crimson footprints to thy hiding place? With signs thou hadst not many days to live, I found thee. Had the sun more heart to give to warm thee than I gave? And then and there thy heart said to my heart, ill would I fare without thee. I give love for love, believe. Thy silence when in glory troubles me. A warm blood dashed back cold, chills to the bone. What do I ask for? Only Erin's own, that which God gave her. And if true it be, thou art the minister of justice grown, thy gratitude should thunder God's decree. 3. What? Why bemoan one island in the sea, when I can range like mountains, or the sun, above all clouds, and rosy from my run to God, like morn, chant praise, since flesh of thee. O yea, my pride and transport verily is, thou and I eternally are one, and this God passion which no power can stun, I owe to her who gave her soul to me. Oh, when I see her golden hair adrift on sorrow's sea, like weeds rent from their reef, and know she breathes with her sublime belief, it crazes me that thou, when thou mightst lift her saintly features and dry them of grief, wouldst not, but waitest for the tide to shift. 4. America, 'tis not thy mines of gold, nor streams from mounts to meadows, like God's hand from out the heavens, a flash across the land, in long deep sweeps to quicken winter's mold to reaps of ripeness, that mine eyes behold invoking thee. For these are mere shore sand to the broad ocean of thy spirit grand, forming for man a new world of the old. 'Tis liberty, whose most blessed birth the stars all lead rejoicing, which souls thee with God's compassion for humanity, that I invoke. And now, when all the earth bears palms and chants hosannas, what, shall she, the most devout, be shut from freedom's mirth? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. British Glory in Kipling's Boots by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. All English glory is in Kipling's boots. O English people, read that poem true and answer, are those maddening men not you? Oh, not ye few, who gather all the loots, but ye vast legions, lured to be recruits, to march, 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 and march with naught in view, but boots, 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 with blood and mud soaked through, and after ages, without rest or fruits. Boots, 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 and no discharge from war. That is the Empire's anthem. Brass it out, ye orchestras, but oh, leave not in doubt its import, Kipling, that 'tis maelstrom roar, 'tis England's streams of home life, whirled about and down a gulf, for greed and pride on shore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To the English People by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. If deaf to Shelley's loudest skylark strain, his rage at tyrants, and to Byron's thong nerve-proof, how wake the English to the wrong done their true selves, no less than to the slain, when willing weapons for ambition's gain? Aye, weapons only, for to whom belong the mines of England, and treed fields of song? Nay, all but grave ground, grudged by hill and plain. O English people, whom the crafty class has huddled into graves from sight and sound of what God hands you, and, with pence or pound, lids down your wild dead stare, wake! Why so crass? See in the Celts' spring burst from underground, the human resurrection come to pass. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Shakespeare by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Oh, what are England's lines of lords and kings? Shakespeare, to thine, a throb with thought and feeling. In thine imagination shines, revealing the soul's convictions, swift on dawnward wings from beastly life and such hell-smelling things as wealth and pomp from church and abbey stealing, and hearts in hope's high belfries heavenward pealing, as time his sun and starry censer swings. Would thou wert England's nature, bard supreme, to fashion kings and lordlings fit to rule, they would be flesh and blood, not fiend and ghoul. And would thou wert her son, that every beam might not, for tally, show a youth's blood pool, choking blithe spring as now to earth's extreme. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. England's Righteousness by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. The righteousness of England, 'tis to kneel full weight on weaker nations, and intone hosannas louder than the victim's groan. Then stooping, drink their blood with gulps of zeal. What right have wounds, though wide, to throb or feel? 'Tis blasphemy to England's crimson throne. Knee-deep in Aaron's blood she mocks Christ's moan. Forgive them, Lord, they know not their true weal. Whose is the fault? 'Tis not my arrogance, but candor, Lord, that puts the blame on thee. What right hadst thou to make these people free, and let all nature prompt them to advance? Oh, no such blunder, Lord, hast thou called me, instead of wisdom, to approve thy plans. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Massacre of the Welsh Miners by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. The bard's curse, run seize the ruthless king, took bat-like form for hollow echo flight. Though stoned and lanced at, when, at fall of night, it darted forth with ghastly spreading wing, it found in fresh, wide, royal ravishing, new hollows, dark with horror and sad plight, to dash in and live on. Oh, to my sight, how grows its grimness, while eternally. Deep are the mines of Wales, but far more deep the horror, gulfed out by Macready, firing on men defenseless, and through want expiring. Oh, from that gulf the bard's curse makes a sweep, up to the sun, and from its long desiring, grown eagle shrieks to heaven from steep to step. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Dirty Work by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. A dirty work, said Dyer, rebuked for spilling hundreds of lives to irrigate new lands. A dirty work, but not for British hands, dabbling in blood to earn each day their shilling. Hark, Mohawk Valley and Wyoming, chilling with thought of Tarleton's king serving bands, and Canada, red-clayed, though high snow stands, cry, work for which the British are too willing. Invaded lands need terror irrigation to make them fruitful. Better flood the field than let the native bloom become the yield. And so this dire submerged a small whole nation with crimson death, that England might, deep-keeled, have for display new seas of desolation. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Human Nature by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. The ocean, holding pure the azure's blue, laughs at the tempests, with one empire's dust after another to round out earth's crust. Ah, so does human nature hold the hue it takes from heaven, its conscience, and laughs, too, at madness, wrecking life, and with its gust, forming new islands, where pride, greed, or lust welcomes the crater's glare in sunlight's lieu. Look in the sea and deep, what scattered rock the islands which at dusk the tempest piled. Ere rose a star, they sank with crews beguiled. O tempests that with world formations mock the good Creator, how as ye grow wild, earth quakes and no live thing survives the shock. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Our Country, Soul and Character by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. Our country is not rock and wood and stream, but soul, transfusing them. What is soul? The substance born of God, above control, and when one with God's love, called will supreme. And freedom is the soul in thought, the dream that nature's beauty and harmonious whole, God's footsteps, followed, life attains its goal, and soul is purpose to achieve God's scheme. The soul, then, our true country, is the brave who fought and bled for freedom, or will fight to their last pulse, last breath for human right. Great soul, oh how like bubbles in the wave are the sierras in cerulean flight to thy true grandeur, letting naught enslave. 2. O thou art character, art only those who formed the good and great by thought or deed. All others are not worth a moment's heed, mere prairie dogs, who raise gold hills in rows when gazing at thy glory, for that grows with freedom from all foul untruths, with lead in art for weal, with science for all woes, with hate of thrall and help for all unfreed. No mere foot shadow on time's wall art thou, without eye sparkle, swing of arm, warm flow from heart to vein, and cheeks with health of glow. O 'tis eternal heights reflect thy brow, and shoulders that avert man's overthrow, threatened all times, and never more than now. 3. O what if lone and long thy lofty flight, my country? Is thy vision not as clear as that of Vesper, dauntless pioneer on twilight's altitude? As from that height he sees plain through the thick black walls of night, the stars all massing, so dost thou, his peer, behold all peoples gathering year by year, to scale the clouds to thy white range of right. How thy lone loftness, aloof from wrong, refracting manward, God's enrapturing smile of fruitful fields leads legions. On they file and phalanx, and the vision makes thee strong. What though God's searchlight flares the sky the while? It nears not thee, ear close to heaven's high song. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Judah and Aaron by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. From out a desert where the trail runs red, Judah and Aaron speed camel their pace, sighting green palms. The flush on either face is from the fissure where each wedged her head from sandstorms that hurled heavens down as they sped. It is no blush for thought or conduct base to the high trust to bring the human race truths without which time's offspring are born dead. In spirit they are sisters, for beyond the desert, where the vision like a dove soars round the palace of almighty love, God hails them as my daughters, true and fond, who show man through noon blaze my star above, and to my will fail never to respond. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Easter Rising in Ireland by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. Who in descent from heaven's ecstatic throng was twin to light and ranged from source to sea and shore to peak, and God drew up to thee the generations happy, pure, and strong? Freedom as Aaron's was ere ruthless wrong caught, scourged, and hanged it on the outlaw's tree, and is, for lo, it proves divinity, transfiguring from anguish ages long. True, they have strangled freedom on the cross of every right's suppression, nay, have barred his body's tomb and placed a host on guard. Still he is risen, his faithful mourn no loss. He shines forth in their midst, no bolts retard his entrance, where grand aims for life engross. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Fight in Ireland by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. The fight in Ireland is twixt man and brute. A lion with the sea surge for his mane is there hurled back by man with proud disdain, although heart drained with gash from head to foot. Oh, in that Eden of forbidden fruit, how Satan, searching for a snake in vain, fumed forth a monster from his heart and brain, the lion, as the serpent's substitute. O all ye peoples of the world, draw nigh, stand on the bodies of 8 centuries, struck dead with horror. For raised thus, one sees in Aaron, torn, a soul that cannot die, and that its struggle is humanity's against the fiend who would give God the lie. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To Aaron by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. How help take pride in thee, whose golden hair of culture trailed the earth for centuries, whose throne was freedom and whose realm was peace, and in strange lands whose joy and only care were to spread light, and who, not anywhere thy charm made headway, planting liberties, didst then by stealthy step or creep on knees, so with the lilies faster growing tear. How help love thee, whose hand, raised to the sun, glows rosy and not red with murder's stain? The angels kiss it. Force can forge no chain to drag thee falseward. Like a holy nun, stigmated, how thy faith grows with thy pain, aye, till thy cross, like Constantine's, has won. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Queen of Beauty by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. Enrapt, roused Aaron, who does not behold a Venus, rising from the sea of tears up to her native earth illuming spheres. Her hair, long matted, is a flow of gold, which even the sun might wear and feel not cold. And oh, her heavenly smile at doubts and fears, as when she, at all depths, raised to her ears, shells of her glory, murmuring, "Be bold." Lo, where the green and orange morn unfurls, see Erin rise. How shine her golden tresses! They form her crown, for trailing rocks down whirls, and reaching all the undersea recesses, they draw about her brow the rarest pearls, love for what frees, and hate for what oppresses. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Liberty, the Light to Peace by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. All hail to those who through the stormy night make liberty the light on Erin's coast, who, ceaseless, send up sparks, who hold their post on each and every ledge of human right, forming a beacon blaze from base to height, where Erin's hope may steer and land its host. Look, human nature, where else canst thou boast to the eternal stars so grand a sight? Look, how men there ennoble humankind by making liberty the light to peace. All other lights are false. Oh, who but sees in the inconquerable Celtic mind that even in time there are eternities, love true to right, and will no wrong can bind. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Why Play with Words, England? By Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Why play with words? There can never be peace till Ireland is set free. One might as well expect the great archangel rest in hell, and genuflect to Satan's blasphemies, as Erin's spirit, that for centuries has been aloft with God in virtue, sell, like Esau, her birthright, and not rebel, but to her home's invaders bend her knees. Her spirit is no Norbury banshee, to wail and then to vanish. She will stand with lifted flambeau, lighted by the hand that lights the stars, till she again is free, inspiring normal man in every land with love of freedom by her scorn of thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Freedom's Wardens by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Look, British fury, that barraging lights up Irish skies like pathways down to hell, doubles its fire to reach our land as well, where freedom's wardens cry from justice heights. 'Tis deicide to murder human rights. Stop foul God's slaughter, where to not rebel, in order to develop and excel, where God in man succumbed to age-long blights. Where heavenward rose the God and man of old, staunch stand these wardens. Sleepless they behold each turn of England's evil eye. They call, when she would form the fulminate of gold, a thumb and finger pinch of which, let fall, might blast Columbia's peaks to slit of thrall. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. List to Demosthenes, if not to Hearst, by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Of all the fulminates, gold is the worst, which England aeroplaning now lets drop by day and night, in bank, press, church, and shop, timed to the minute that it is to burst. List to Demosthenes, if not to Hearst, sublime republic, lest thy great heart stop, shocked by the blast of freedom's every prop, and bats and owls in dwellings humans erst. Watch Macedon, she drops her gold, and creeping beneath free Athens' sky ascending stair. Watch with her glance of sword. O watch, for where she sows her gold, she comes with scythes for reaping. Is Athens in ascent with sunlight flare, to come down ashes not worth history's keeping? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Caledonia by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. In only Wallace and Paul Jones and Burns does Caledonia, child of Erin, show his mother's features, lit by soul to know the right divine of freedom, when it yearns for what exalts the human, or it spurns what bars its flight to truth, all stars aglow, that form God's trail to joy for man below, sole trail as time who peers through grief discerns. O Caledonia, by thy Burns' brave song, and deeds of Wallace and Paul Jones for right, thy mother knows thee in the dark of night, and claps thee heart close. She cries out, be strong, soul of my soul, though not a Boswell quite, still be whole man, remember Glencoe's wrong. 2. Wake, Caledonia, though Macaulay, wigging, would ward the flames from scarring William's face, so that then Cain might shriek, here, take my place, a fugitive and outcast, with no digging to hide in, nor a rest for my fatiguing. The mark on me is but God's finger trace, on you 'tis God's whole hand. Still, there's the blaze, there's England's soul of merciless intriguing. List, 'tis the bagpipes welcoming the guest, see the assembly dance and feast. Oh, watch the open heart and flow of good old Scotch. The English come, as friends must have the best. There hospitality is at top notch, and so is treachery in Britain's breast. 3. The cock crows. Is he dreaming? 'Tis dark still. He crows again, and now, from farm to farm, his fellows echo far his dazed alarm, and flap of wings on fences. He is shrill, because it is not dawn above the hill that wakes him, but the English, as they arm and murder sleep that has no dream of harm, in couch and crib, to further England's will. O Caledonia, with such lamp in hand as Glencoe's horror, thou hast England true. Why let froud of fiction haze thy vivid view? Put not thy light out for sound sleep, but stand and answer, when the mother, whom thou drew thy soul from, cries Glencoe, when black and tanned. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Canada by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. O Canada, long red with cottage flame from Britain's torch, thy blasts milk not the cloud to nourish hope. Instead, they spread the shroud on human spirit, answering freedom's claim. Whence comes the cold which icicles with shame thy heart's Niagara, that should thunder loud unto thy far-off soul in sorrow, bowed over Papineau, whom thraldom could not tame? Now following the friends who grandly led the slave through tunnels to the northern star, to find in freedom richer bloomage far than the magnolia or the cattle shed, I reach thy soul, where now the Crawfords are, and learn the cold is not from manhood dead. 2. Whence comes this cold to freedom's claim? We know only too well, from creatures of the king, who had dragged hell of every poisonous thing, and through our country had spread waste and woe. Beaten at last, they flocked like carrion crow on the dead body of their will to sting, which drifting northward and enlarging, loomed Dante's Nimrod mid the Arctic snow. There with the reptile's hate of man upright, as God created him, and reptile veins aflow with death's cold blood, for that sustains the life of tyrant and of parasite, this monster, though half sunk in hell, remains high, still, above the Arctic's shuddering night. 3. The monster's inhalations empty hell of all deterrence to life's flow and flower. Then its outbreathings icily devour the cataract in flight, and down the dell the streamlets to delight, and buds as well, of virtue forming bloom for freedom's bower. Nay, its outbreathings, through creed, hatred's power, grow boreas and face where freemen dwell. Lo, with sun warmth for truth and human right is Boreas met. Who hurls him down the deep? Look close. 'Tis Gladden, who on freedom's steep is as inspiring as on Andes' height the great Christ statue, bidding rancor sleep, and life's diverging ways in love beam light. 4. The cataract's wild leap turned glittering ice in shame's suspension, and crow souls a-feeding upon a huge dead body and fast breeding, is, as a scene, not worth the railroad's price. But oh, if with Excelsior for device thou climb thine alpine way, each day exceeding the other's height, what throngs would watch thy speeding, and for the thrill thou wouldst give them, come twice. O Canada, why all this sleigh bell rhyming? 'Tis on the reindeer, hope, in speed with me to the grand morning, when thou shalt breathe free upon the apex of thine alpine climbing, from foulsome, choking smells of tyranny, thick from the great sea serpents inland sliming. 5. God said to wrong, no further shalt thou go. This Monroe heard and held, then, in his heart. It was this he repeated when on chart he made his markings, checking freedom's foe. God never grants to wrong the right to grow, because he sets its bounds, does not impart his blessing on its growth more than its start. His blessing goes to right, to overthrow. O let thine eyes for migratory flight speed southward, passing prejudice's lake, green crusted with stagnation which some take for verdure. They will see from Andes' height how freedom's battle forms the red daybreak, and tides are swells from thrall, hurled deep from sight. 6. Thine eyes returning from the Southern Cross will, when like Perry they have reached the pole, search under it to find thy banished soul, O Canada, and tell it of thy loss, in letting a foul dead body, which the moss of the deep sea should hide, loom as thy whole, and rule as dead things rule, with death for toll, as pierced by Papineau through glamour's gloss. From south to north no sky is black but thine. Thy fecund brain the borealis shows a swaying disk with shades of dark for glows, with but a faint salt smell of color's brine, the pent-up billows in the disk's dark close, which might flood midnight with rare worldwide shine. 7. We seek no annexation, but of mind, heart, spirit. True, thy clear sonorous voice at freedom's class call would make us rejoice, for then close coasting thrall would fail to find in the new world one truant to mankind, swimming out to the foreigner's decoys, or fast asleep amid his infant toys, instead of at the task which God assigned. O let thy spirit come, but it must be along the star way to the rising sun, the way of love, not down creed hates that run, like broken stone steps to a roaring sea, the way thou oft hast come. Rise and be one on the new world's star-top of liberty. 8. The angels come in dreams, says Holy Writ, and science says, no sleep so deep but dreams. Divine appearances with brightening gleams toward paradise up from the demon's pit ever rouse virtue. Aye, for God redeems his fire wherever hid. The tempest teems, but still his sparks fly, quick as flint is hit. Wake, Canada, and let thy Papineaus be dreams remembered. Yea, let them inspire thy life to follow freedom higher and higher, through right's whole range of summits crowned with snows, sparkling from star molds of the soul's desire, on earth from heaven, where clouds from flames they rose. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Dragon Incursions by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. O freedom, whose pure soul and heart embrace translates me into heaven, I draw for breath the joy of angels who have not known death. Childlike, I look up in thy loving face, else gaze around and point, and curious place my hand on mottos hung on high. One saith, Beware, for he not with me scattereth. Its meaning comes to me with growth, like grace. Ah, as a youngster on its mother's arm, seeing a hideous thing approaching night, will not lay down its head and shut its eye, but will with look and lung express alarm. My mind cries out in dread, when sea and sky show dragons, tendencies that work thee harm. 2. O freedom, up to whose raised hand the seas leap, playful lions, or with head and mane across their paws lie couchant, it is pain to see thee whose heart beats are God's decrees, and vital breathings are infinities. Now check thy heart and hold thy breath to gain the smile and plaudit of a depths with bane in fingertips while fawning on their knees. What? Think the tyrant whose great soul is trade, whose history, a crater belching black and lurid, keeps glad Easter morning back from half the world, loves thee save to invade as blackward planned? Loves thee, along whose track march human rights up to the stars parade? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Nemesis by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. There where the tyrant long has loomed, wreck-crowned, are young and old hurled to the coast and blast. Frail are their ships. Still sun, why glare aghast, watching the billows monstering around? The soul of man was not born to be drowned. It mounts and mounts, till at God's throne at last, and freedom welcomes it with arms sky vast, as down it comes to meet thrall and confound. O deathless spirit, born of hosts sea hurled, who hast outsoared night's stars with agony's cry for justice, thou hast come down from the sky, heralding doom to thrall, whose flag unfurled by steel or craft shows, as 'tis hoisted high, the blood of man and ruin of the world. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. All Stars Merged in One by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. What is truth? The thought, the act, or cry recasting the supreme intelligence? All else is false. Look, where are stars so dense that each has not the freedom of the sky? And still, what peace, what glory reigns on high? What, with the wisdom of the heavens dispense? The peace for which our longings grow intense comes through the stars to earth, and but thereby. What splits dark midnight and gives earth a thrill? All stars merged into one, our country's aim. It is a lightning formed by God to flame across the ages and flash bolts to kill the stranglers who the heart or spirit maim or choke black in the face a people's will. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Lincoln's Lightning in Wilson's Hands by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. Who is to rise and hurl God's flame worldwide as Lincoln hurled it, setting free a race from sphinx-shaped wrong, a beast with human face, that shattered how our land rose glorified, and from the stars' last laggard soared their guide. Oh, who can take Promethean Lincoln's place, to bring light wheresoever he can trace a human with his rights to soul denied? He must be one not only to illumine all ages, and not leave one region dim, but at no height allow his senses swim, or let mirages lure him with false bloom. Lo, Here one comes with all the virtues prim, to hurl God's fire and end all human gloom. 2. 'Tis Wilson takes God's flame from Lincoln's hand, this Princeton man, who has outgrown the Prince 100 years, and in the ocean since, seen with delight eternity expand and loom in glory from the despot's strand, shapes 14 dazzling bolts without a wince. He pauses. Why not hurl them and convince the world that henceforth not one thrall shall stand? What? Wilson's arm lacks strength to hurl the flame God gave to Lincoln for the human race? Look, look, it falls. What? Gone? Quenched by dark space? No, it describes an orbit there, the same as comets, and regains its heavenly place for one to hurl its true, and doom earth's shame. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Cataclysm by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. In Wilson we beheld and proudly hailed the world's deliverer. In him we saw a luminous being rise from earth and draw all lands above the clouds. We were regaled with justice cascades flow, long ice impaled upon high mountains. Was not nature's thaw from his heart heat for truth, eternal law? He was the heat of all the stars he scaled. Though his ascension was like Christ's, sublime with lift of continents and every isle, he, less than Christ, succumbed to demon guile. O God, that he should drop his mountain climb below sea level, and let earth the while fall back and settle in primeval slime. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. An Epoch's Angel Fall. Judging from Wilson's virile virtue voice, whose whisper hushed earth's hum, were we not proud to have him cross the sea to speak aloud, and with a finger raised hush battle noise, and lift all lands to justice's equipoise? O such is truth to God, so oft avowed, a spirit thundered from a luminous cloud. This man crowns Lincoln's work, all men rejoice. O had he read his Bible where St. Paul, grown man, put off child things, or had not smiled when told strong ego oft is man grown child. Look, who sees not an epoch's angel fall from hope for earth, in Wilson's truth beguiled by second childhood's toys to play with thrall. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The America of the Future by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. Our country still is in the womb, dark time. It shows life by its brisk and robust turns, which thrill the mother, Liberty, who yearns to see her man-child born. Oh, how sublime with genius, not of one, but every clime, where art forms beauty, or the spirit spurns the foul and spurious. Her desire that burns prenatally in him, to form him prime. O people all, Italian, Spanish, French, Dutch, English, Irish, German, Jew, and Greek, what see you as you climb the future's peak? Oh, no illusion. What looms there shall wrench from life all monsters out from hell, to seek dead consciences and plague earth with their stench. 2. Ascend, O land of every creed and race, not thy full image in New England's brook, nor in the South's lagoon, though there a look delights us with thy chubby infant face. 'Tis seas of joy that shorelessly replace the ocean, which in time of old forsook the prairies for the cloud, or spring in nook, that show thee grown through God's abundant grace. From east to west how joy's high seas expand, reflecting not a foolish mundane pride, that thinking it does all sets God aside, but virtue, which with heart and head and hand works out God's purpose, with dear Christ for guide, and Holy Spirit's light to understand. 3. All virtues from the longing of the soul, from wisdom gained by sorrow through long ages, from inspiration of the bards in rages that intermarrying maniacs control a people's life and drain its sea to shoal, and from the vision of sky-topping sages gasping for breath from rot in all its stages, aye, these and newborn genius loom there whole. Look, people, little less than God's own size, your virtues merge, and with speed Godward burn, an unconsuming sun that at no turn in spiral flight, for still a grander rise, lets night advance where human rights still yearn, except with great new stars and dawning skies. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Inevitable by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. Behold two fleets, the one with woe for trail, the other rapture. As a sight the strait through which but one can pass, greed, urged by hate, drives thraldom's crafts with help of steam and gale. They feel their way. The guns with which they hail raise jets, that look tall elms from hope, the gate, to peace, the palace. Then their speed is great, maneuvering fast to head off or assail. Drawing the sea up for his driving steam, greed breaks all mirrors in his grand stateroom, that show him dark, inevitable doom, close hovering, and exults. I am supreme. When seas lack water for my funnel fume, I bid life send its every crimson stream. 2. What? In the darkness lowers boat after boat from freedom's fleet, and each with lightning oars? Treasons to God and country are the rowers. They are the gold and hireling brain that gloat on conscience body with face down afloat. Why hail they greed to run on menial chores from deck to deck, or to and from all shores? Why? To ensure the payment of a note. Meanwhile, brisk freedom's fleets with justice manned and cosmic full momentum for their speed confront the crafts, fired up by fiendish greed. A clash, and lo, they pass the strait and land, leaving in smoldering heaps, like autumn's weed, the hulks of thrall along time's vultured strand. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Reptiles with Wings by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Our lust for golden power not hideous spawn of prehistoric reptiles that had wings? Where'er those crawled they chawed all greening things, and when they mounted, how their lengths full drawn basked barren in the sun before the dawn, absorbing all its rays from budding springs? These drain life's dawn, and by impoverishings draw and reduce to pulp frail consciences. O yea, bewinged with legislative crime, they bask in sunlight ere the east sky grays, and drag the soul of man from God's embrace of rights and freedom. Oh, how long a time shall reptiles, deadly to the human race, be let grow wings and heavenward trail their slime? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Outlaws of Our Country by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. The outlaws in our country are the wretches who wreck the legislatures with their gold, and with the ruins form a high stronghold to sally from, to what good nature fetches from God to man. What though fine graphic sketches in magazines show them with shoulders bold against the night's floodgates of dark and cold? All effort is but life in death-throe sketches. They are the outlaws who stop nature's train and take its corn and coal for selfish use, then put their shoulders to night's gate to loose its hinges for a 40-day dark rain, to drown all life, that they, like Noah, may cruise through thick drifts of the dead in heart and brain. 2. O heart and brain, who see the Father load his train with food, not for the few, but all, and hear train whistlings and March winds, jay call, and groundhog sniffs. Haste out, for from the road that leads to every industry's abode, the trust, that bat-eyed comes out at nightfall, now moves the tracks inside his private wall, claiming all trains from God a debt long owed. O heart and brain, it rests with you how long the legislative wreckers shall prevail. Ye have the power to balk them, why then fail? Regain your legislatures, man them strong, and drive thence all sleek hounds, trust trained to trail safe outlaws' paths to fastnesses of wrong. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Press by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Was ever such unblushing harlotry, such sale of virtue in the marketplace, as by the press? The red paint on her face is degradation's mark. Alas, that she, born to bring forth the truth, still is so base. She kills her child, and then, to hide all trace, cracks bone by bone to dust, too fine to see. O press, poor harlot of the tyrant gold, what freedom but from truth hast thou to boast? Hark, who now speaks is murdered truth's pale ghost. Conceiving life, O bring it forth, I hold thy child on high with love as priest the host. Crush not its bones, with smile and eyes set cold. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Truth by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. What is the truth? The focus of all rays, passing through nature and the soul and mind. It is the sun of suns, around which wind the heavens and all the worlds. Such is its blaze, that had it not, at intervals, a haze, grading both angel and the human kind, the bright archangel would be stricken blind to grope in heaven, a Homer sighing lays. What less could fitly crown omnipotence than truth, the focus of all rays and good? Lo, there it shines upon the holy rood, breaking through clouds, amassing dark and dense from countless ages, canes to brotherhood, with rays of pardon for the world's offense. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Our Lord's Last Prayer by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Forgive them, sire, they know not what they do. Ah, Christ, how at that face-to-face God plea, the demon and his legions mocking thee with every generation brought to view, flashed with dismay, and boltless lightning through the ages, thunder down eternity, till faint as the sound in shells far from the sea, for that thy prayer would be vouchsafed they knew. All grandeurs gathered as a dazzling crown for thee, in barter for thy knees' least bend, the demon dashed to fragments to time's end. There, born anew in spirit, we look down, and in the ocean of thy prayer, amen, see but earth's monsters with the demons drown. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Thought is Truth's Echo by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Thought is Truth's echo, not her glorious eyes beholding God, nor her white arms of light lifted in worship. Following truth, our flight at highest range is where our echo dies. O all your power and beauty, earth and skies, and soul and mind, your beauty and your might, truth gathers in one flash, and catching sight of God, lifts high in love's full sacrifice. Twixt truth and thought, What truth is, oft is space wherein, with intuition for her wing, the soul mounts. It is there I hear her sing. Lo, truth, so swift aloft, thought dies in chase, turns earthward, and the gifts her white arms bring are outshone by God's glory in her face. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Heaven by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Ah, what is heaven? Such glory that sunlight seems darkness, and mass music shall shut sound. What we call senses here, there so abound. The soul appears a broadening heaven in flight, feathered and downed with all the stars, whose white is all hues mingled. Oh, the awe profound! For every moment there, new heavens astound the myriad senses, with God's love and might. If holy, holy, holy evermore be the one chant of angel and of saint before the throne, it is their gaspings faint between their transports to high heavens from lower. For what is love's eternal firmament but heaven on heaven that we may ceaseless soar? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Humility by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Was not humility the earthward stair from highest heaven, by which God came to men, to show the way aloft to human ken? Ah, but what other pass are men to fare through mist and cloud, except the path aflare with his blessed steps from heaven and up again? Steps, not from star to star, but fen to fen, that all might follow and not one despair. O steps of love! Could we reach with our eyes their fulgence, we would shrink back with dismay. For though 'tis through the world's contempt move they, hark, how the hidden choirs of countless skies chant at all heights. Lo, God comes by this way, and makes worldwide his stair to paradise. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Night of Mysteries by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. A cataract of stars, which, with each fall broadens and brightens, rapturing the sight of angels' hosts, that view it from the height of knowledge of God's love for one and all, his creatures, and not darkness to appall the spirit by the quench of every light, for which God grants it vision, is the night of life's strange mysteries, both great and small. O cataracts beyond the angels' count, pause and shine pendant over every deep, of heart, mind, spirit. Lo, how down they sweep to basic good, where massing they remount, till mid God's many mansions high they leap, forming forever joy's most splendent fount. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. What the Poets Show by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. When at God's fiat light flashed forth, the beam evolved a million pigments as it sped to every nature. Now of all it spread, what shaft so glorious as the poet's dream, which mote and mass reflects the will supreme that life is progress, and by flight or tread it circles Godward up till perfected. For harboring meaner thought were to blaspheme. What, if the world be chaos where it sins, race feuds, creed hatreds, falsehoods gross deceit, intrigue and greed form swirling blinding sleet? Honor and truth, though buried to their chins, look up and smile, for though the storms still beat, the poets show 'tis spring, not winter, wins. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Soul's Ascension by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. Not mine the night that creeps beneath life's sea, or lurks within hope's ruins, sunk below the desert or the stagnant pool. Oh no! But night that mounts the heavens till it is free, where stars, prefiguring all things that be, obscure on earth, catch sight of God and glow, and golden shadows large and larger grow, cast by gift-bearers to humanity. Oh, once the cold of all the unsunned space was in my reptile life of soul wing-bound, but now, soul-free, what warmth from stars all round! 'Tis not by strength of mine, Lord, but thy grace, my soul soars from the depths of sea or ground, till at star heights it meets thee face to face. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Lyric Transport by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. What but the spirit's ladder to God's throne is beauty? Oh, from rung to climb, till faint becomes the azure's anthem chime of planets, multitudinous or lone, and inspiration, drunk with fragrance, blown from God's rare inmost garden walled from time, sets free the sonnet with its wings of rhyme to carry down the transport upward known. Mine is no swaying ladder like the seas, whose rounds of rollers, raised above sunrise, lean not on heaven, hence shattered lie at noon, for 'tis set firmly on the verities which form God's throne. Ah, there, what joy, my prize! Would that I had a dove for every boon. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Sunrise by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. The sun is God's great joy to human sight. Oh, up and off in chariots see and ride all generations up, till mountain-eyed, to welcome earthward God's supreme delight. Imagination swirls in swallow flight, giddy with beauty deepening. Oh, how glide from star to the halos season-dyed and countless, its wings shrivel up like night. O yea, the sun in one subliming rise from wisdom's infinite mind. This reason knows. It has no set. There, sense with weals or woes, for beads or fingers, count our shuts of eyes, excluding knowledge. What? God's joy to close, and all its goodness break and drift cloudwise? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Two Darknesses by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. There are two darknesses, one where the Lord hides beauty, that by which men know his face. All in that darkness feel his fingers trace their features gently, and their hearts record the feeling as of one whose eyes, restored, would see but for the Father's close embrace. The other is the outer dark, a place where hate turns black the light upon it poured. O God, the only darkness that I dread is where thou art not, that where hate's black fire surmounts the heavens to burst with thunder dire, and in its fall forever drag the dead of heart and spirit, those whom thy desire would fain have made the halo round thy head. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Doom of Hate by Edward Doyle. read4librivox.org by Kristen Hand. A spirit passed the sun, the moon, and star, and dwelled and dreamed in darkness all its own. The music of the spheres, though thither blown, as faint as fragrance from a flower afar, disturbed this spirit's ear, attuned to jar of orb with orb, for hate of light, truth known, fashions hot worlds, which cooled to clay and stone, clash, rising toward calm heaven which they would mar. Ah, If where love was not, he smiled elate. His smile at God returned, a lightning flash that shattered him. He saw his planets clash, burst, and then, by the downward law of hate, sink and leave not a single spark nor ash for the new firmament he would create. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Evil in the World by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. There are two gods, one good, the other ill. They clash in nature, so the Persian taught, and long a sect in Europe spread the thought. Why there is evil is a problem still, to many who see not in human will a being that with beauty could have caught up to his Maker, had he gladly wrought with light and warmth instead of dark and chill. God said, "Let there be light," and light was made. God made not darkness, that is light's exclusion, forming a region where in wild confusion men, nations, each a ferret, blood-eyed shade, worry each other, till with disillusion for lamp comes conscience crying, God betrayed. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Earth Renewed by Memory by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Ah, in the angel fall from heaven is hope. The wing whir discord of the legion's fall from God forever mocks my heart's loud call. Empty of beauty from its base to cope, the earth is hollow. Where then can I grope and not be met by echoes that appall? What, shouts my mind, in wonder that I crawl, and having skyey wings, in hollows mope? Does scent from bloom or warble from the wood not atmosphere the unaerial void twixt thee and beauty, which thy youth enjoyed? Fly back to earth, by memory renewed, she fills the hollow, echoing hosts destroyed with spring, reflecting heaven's triumphant good. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. In the Dimple of Beauty's Cheek by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. O beauty, in the dimple of thy cheek my love could live forever and be blessed. There, with the sun, a rosebud on thy breast, how thou rejoicest, hastening to speak to thy fond father. Oh, how vain to seek a sweeter refuge for the spirit's rest than mid thy blushes, when thou marvelest at his great love. For, oh, thy heart is meek. O beauty, in thy father's arms thou art. Enclose me in thy dimple, for though this were but a bud or molded seed, what bliss to watch bloom gather scent, or new life start, and hear our Father, bending for a kiss, whisper to thee the secrets of his heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Campfire by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Beauty is love, and hence is heightening fire consuming nature. All the dark can bring to quench it, feeds it. Look, how everything is caught in the blaze, which mounts up high and higher. Oh, truly 'tis a vision to inspire the soul with transport, more than joy can sing. For if not for the blaze, what cold would sting poor mortals who gather round it, nigh and nigher? Is beauty not the campfire, which one host leaves burning for another close behind? Yea, yea, the powers divine, O humankind, have left their campfire burning on the coast, where they embarked from glimpse of human mind, to give you warmth and light to hold your post. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Mother by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. All beings, legioning celestial light, moved in procession toward a vacant throne. Their chant was faith and hope, as now our own. At last it came to pass their faith grew sight. They saw one star in night's downfall stay white, and by the Holy Spirit brighter blown, ascend in heaven, till there as high and lone as over nature's marveling zenith height. Reaching the throne its queen, this star became, awed by the triune's honor as her crowd. The legions, circling, soared with eyes cast down. But when their wonder heard the strange, new name in heaven from Christ's lips, Mother, how they shone, reflecting Christ's child eyes with love aflame. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. In Heaven No Heart Still Heaves by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Lo, God lets drop blue doves which ground the mind like clover. Then, withdrawing to the skies, his pleasure is to watch the flocks arise. Here, there they mount. They show no cloud, no wind, can hinder homing, and the angels find no transport like the sight, for to their eyes 'tis more souls for the joy which glorifies the Father, traced to love by pigeon kind. Oh, to his love how great our spirit's worth, each is as all. In heaven no heart still heaves. The sun sinks with its last of lingering eves, and then, if dearest doves of azure birth, wife, parent, child be missed, off mercy leaves with stars for eyes to search the darks of earth. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. St. Peter's Cathedral in Rome by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. This temple is soul-startling. 'Tis to me a thunderstorm in stone with Sinai flare across the ages. 'Tis the fiend's despair and the archangel's triumph. It sets free the mind and soul with certitude, Christ's key, which like the sun opes heaven, the good and fair. Still oft what darkness drowns the sun's noon glare within the temple. 'Tis from Calvary. Oh, 'tis from Calvary's grief. 'Tis Christ's emotion, on from the cross, that from his glory known, the German should have fled, and frantic, thrown away his soul to Strauss or Kant's vague notion, unhumaning, till, in the Kaiser, grown a Nietzsche whirlwind in a crimson ocean. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. My Bugler Boy by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. With heart pain and with quiver of the lip, I bid my boy good-bye with words of cheer. I hug him to my heart to hide a tear, and hold him close so long that no tongue slip could more betray my bodings for his ship or troop when landed. It is when I hear my daughter's voices that I shame off fear and take my boy's both hands with firmest grip. Go, son, and though with thy young life 'tis blown, blare thou the bugle, rousing man to sweep the monsters back to hell's profoundest deep, where mocking spring and sunrise they have grown on longings for the sea. The world must weep when from its heart the hope of peace has flown. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Kaiser Beware by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Dost thou, mad Kaiser, for historic name set fire to Europe? Is it joy to gaze at blacker smoke than Etna's, and a blaze that wakes up chaos, wild to come and claim the world since light, God-bidden though it came, has failed to dawn upon our human ways? O twin of chaos, peer thou through the haze. 'Tis human beings feed the crackling flame. Beware the smoke like Etna's is the curse of widows on thy people dooming throne, and in no country, more than in thine own, cry out all mothers, wherefore bear and nurse? To feed war with our sons, our flesh and bone, that chaos may reclaim the universe? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Woman in Germany by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. The German mother has too long been what a chancellor once called the kingdom's cow. Ah, as she bears the droves for slaughter, how her dumb beast eyes crave pity for her lot. See, there she smiles, like loving God forgot, all his supernal patience on her brow. How long must her grand arch of brain as now bear up a universe of what should not? There lies she, crushed by troops in hot pursuit of mocking shadows, for be gain complete, what is it but twin brother to defeat? Stand up the dead on any bloody rout, stoop for no kiss from orphans at thy feet, O triumph, for ash cord is all thy fruit. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. O Thou Pale Moon by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. O fair full moon, I look close at thy face. Thou must be happy, being in the skies, and yet thy flush grows pallor to mine eyes. Thou art as one who, breathless after the chase, would rest, but dreads to check her onward pace. O fugitive from where no fledgling flies, no bee finds bud, and where red billows rise, engulfing down dark years the human race. O thou pale moon, who hast companioned man through every darkness since the night's first fall, hast thou, along thy foot-worn azure wall, ever seen seas so hard for hope to span as this red surge, that in a spring so small a bird could break it up, its flood began? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Tiger by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. How glares the tiger in his desert lair, now half the world, beholding with dismay that human freedom is the tiger's prey, a giant, down whose shoulders, broad and bare, the long thick crimson flow is Samson's hair, makes haste to clutch the beast. Oh, how the clay beneath their struggle reddens night and day, till lies the beast, a shapeless carcass there. Oh, never from the long thick crimson flow, adown thy shoulders from thy noble brow, America, came such God's strength as now comes to thine arm against the world's grim foe, the beast that sighting man devours him, how the world may end, a wilderness of woe. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To Our Boys Over There by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Where flies our flag is freedom's holy ground. There it unfurls all benisons to man. The twin of spring, it spread unfolds God's plan of human happiness, by setting bound to greed, lust, powers, all colds, that right be crowned. Lo, where it leads, ye youth form valor's van, mirrored and echoed by the azure's span, for ages, for man's gain in yours is wound. O justice's hot gulf stream are ye, who open the sea, which fiendish craft has frozen hard. O may your warmth for righteousness transform the tyrant's Arctic region, with no hope in, to freedom's temperate zone, which they who guard the planets save from wreck by quake or storm. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Profiteers by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Now and in life, not Virgil, breaks a storm of harpies, harsh to ear and foul to smell. It sweeps war's lengthening coast, where each sea swell is humans gasping. Hope drags each cold form from hearth to hearth to find no ember warm. Then their eyes glitter frost, who hear hope yell as she climbs the rocks and falls pell-mell back from small herbs where monsters swoop and swarm. Oh, could the bestial birds in Virgil's verse see hope's hands redden as she rends her hair, they would grow human, would not glut but share, nor then shed human semblance for man's curse, as ye do, who from want hold warmth and fare, and gorge your bulks to sleep as want writhes worse. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Why the Stars Laugh by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Hark, 'tis the laughter of the stars at earth and nature's too, with every pitch of voice. Earth's carnival of sheer grotesque and noise, where gagged and manacled walk peace and mirth, shows Britain now, a beast of broadening girth, set out to crush world freedom. He destroys and thinks his bear-like rearing, planet poise, that is to influence the world's new birth. The stars are kind, as all the ages know. The sense of humor twinkles in their eyes at Earth's strange follies, but this beast would try to thrust aside the planets and make woe the fortune of world freedom. That is why the stars laugh and all nature jeers the show. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Prayer for World Peace by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Lord, not thy work the world's calamities, but man's. If human will revolt from thine, it flees thy region where the stars all shine with longing to let down the azure's peace, to dash its hosts from summits into seas where empires are the breakers. There the brine is anguish, and there triumph leaves no sign, save wreck on rock and plague adrift on breeze. When nations turn from light in thought or life, their speed is brinkward, save thy mercy stay. For all is precipice, except thy way. Help, Lord, for here is heightening surge of strife. Here clouds turn floods, coasts are wind-whirled like spray, and lightnings, hurling back thy light, are rife. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Religion by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Religion is ascension. 'Tis the flights of souls to summits of the true and wise. One, witnessing the generations rise, sees them a shine at countless different heights, where they, responding to their inner lights, glow like the clouds at morn with graded dyes. If summits, there are depths. If virtue, vice. Hence, 'tis life's rise from falls that judgment sights. Witnessed or not, there is no age nor clime, but souls arise as bloom where earth is treed, as warm red rays where cold from mountaining need, as burst and spread of planets where dark crime, nay, rise to poise above the stars' top speed, to God like larks in praise for life and time. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Golden Jubilee of Sisters of Charity by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. How thy half-century shines overhead. 'Tis an unfading rainbow, one whose dyes are richer and more numerous to the eyes of angels than to ours. Its rays, if spread above a flood of sin and world of dead, Give to the drowned new life, new earth, new skies. Night counts her stars but falters when souls rise bright with the grace which God's anointed shed. Beloved Irene, how great our joy to see thine arch aglow with virtue's every hue. Oh, how much more must they rejoice who view from inner heaven the arch that is for thee triumphal. For then vows like thine lived true, no grander arch from earth to heaven could be. 2. The church triumphant shines in lives like thine, Callista. 'Tis the saints' procession, shown in Dante's vision, near Lord Jesus' throne, in greatening splendor never to decline. Ah, if our minds grow dark, our hearts repine, how from sweet lives, dear sister, like thine own, be mothering with mercy all who moan, a light comes, and a warmth is in its shine. We shade our eyes as when we face the sun, on level with the earth, all lives at love, the church triumphant as in heaven above. Aye, lives all love for Christ in every one who suffers wrong, or any pain thereof, as on his throne, such lives as thine, dear nun. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Winifred Holt, The Lifesaver of the Blind, by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Once blindness was a burning ship at sea, with panic-stricken souls on every deck. The flame blew inward on that awful wreck, burning the hopes that make life glad and free. Ah, then through thee it was philanthropy, who trains her searchlight on the smallest speck, and speed out boats like horses neck to neck, reached the dark hulk and thrilled its crew with glee. The flame is quenched that burned out heart and brain. The ship where woe was mute is loud with joy. Hark, hear the cheer on board and cry ahoy, as fast the sails are hoisted, and the main tides back toward hope for every girl and boy, who else might reach no star of night's whole train. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Choice by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Above and under life eternally, a subtle light and dark run parallel. One prompts men to build beauty cell by cell, in home, religion, state, society. The other to destroy the fair they see. Like spring, wilt thou roof earth with bloom and dwell thereunder? Or with scalping winter's yell, scour grove and bush? Choose. How else art thou free? If freedom is the gift of the All-Wise, it is because he will not have a slave to serve him. Which wilt thou be, base or brave? With morn climb, or with night skulk down the skies to grope in caverns, or beneath the wave creep, till aghast at monsters that arise? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. All Luminaries Have One Trend by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. All luminaries have one source, one trend. The stars that calm the sailor, long sea-swirled, and canopy fond lovers from the world, and those that lead the heart and spirit blend. Lo, only in the things and thoughts that tend toward love's high harmony is truth unfurled. All else are lies, whence heart, soul, mind are hurled back to the right, to progress without end. The stars all chant as one. My soaring song catches their flame, and these few sparks reach earth. As soon the shells forget their ocean birth, as men forget the right, where they belong by reason and by soul of deathless worth, address the God in man, wouldst thou grow strong. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Life takes morning hues with the arts of peace by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. America, from out the depths thy coast was lifted skyward for humanity. Thy life, once finny circlings in the sea, is now the orbits of the starry host, encircling God with trust. Be this thy boast, when the long line of ages, passing thee, lifts each his heart and soul, and shouts with glee, that trust in him was sentinel on post. Night, that once boa-like hung from thy trees, gorged with crushed tribes, with pottery or mound or print of foot for trace, slinks underground. For lo, the forests, like the mist on seas, clears, ere the sun, at earth's edge, glows half round, and life takes cloud hues with the arts of peace. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. U.S. Senator James A. O'Gorman and the Stalwarts by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. On toward the Senate scuds a thunder rack, nay, cyclone, and the columns, all star straight, of freedom's temple sway with the roof's flood weight. Ye stalwarts who scorn off a fate pitch black, holding the columns, let no sinew slack. A crash, and through the roof what floods of hate! Still ye budge not, for freedom, your teeth great, shall lie no wreck along the cyclone's track. Oh, not for you was dark the time to slumber, but to hold freedom's columns all star plumb. Yours was a watery grave, but martyrdom, and hence your resurrection with the number, whose greatness greatens as the ages come to know why their pathway no wrecks encumber. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Minister of Justice Palmer, a Bastille Builder by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. O Bastille Builder, nature when she shaped thy soul was stricken with a long attack of sleeping sickness, nor till wheel and rack had rusted, and man spirit had escaped the bolsted loathsome tomb where right was raped, did she awaken, and alack, deliver thee, who put on freedom's back, wouldst grab all things at which thy past eyes gaped. Freedom would humor thee, so down he flopped on justice's floor to watch thee build with blocks. Great was thy skill with walls and dungeon locks, and with the trap, down which poor freedom dropped to be steel-masked, or else put in the stocks, to writhe then with his tongue and ears both lopped. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. A Speck But Not a Stain, Harvard, by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. O Harvard of the Norton wreath of gold, and pearled Longfellow purple, wherefore frown? If Eliot is a speck upon your gown, it will wash off. It is no stain to hold, for you had let him go for being old. Your wisdom was confirmed when to the crown against good folks who, like Elisha Brown, fought for their homes, he gave his name's renown. Come, Agassiz, for from the smallest bone you reconstruct the creature tongue to tail. Tell us what Eliot is. Phew! What, a whale? No, 'tis the prehistoric monster known as Tory that devoured young Nathan Hale, and where it crawled, spread horror's crimson zone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Supreme Court Justice Charles L. Guy by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. Your heart is not a traitor to your mind, who knowing innocence in danger dares not turn his eye, for fear of smirk or stares by other courts, is justice's statue blind, that to the wall, not bench, should be assigned. Oft precedent is folly with gray hairs. So you, recalling Junius, heard the prayers of friendless Stylo, Then what did you find? A fellow man doomed wrongfully to die a felon's death. If such was Stylo's fate, you saw the felon would have been the state. Hence, turned from precedent, demanding why. Justice, asleep in marble, woke and straight unroofed the courthouse to let down the sky. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Rear Admiral Sims by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. A dukedom, and not one the worse for wear, has Sims well earned by service to the king. 'Tis said at court how's spirit, following the ocean still, found Sims his natural heir, and said, "Swap souls, and, that the swap be fair, give me to boot the bone of freedom's wing, to make the skyey bird a hobbling thing in marshes, where the ignis fatuus flare." The eagle with his eye and pinion, trained for mateship with the sun, twitched at a sting. Amazed to find a cootie on his wing, and that the insect dreamed it was ordained by race heredity to serve the king, he shook his plume and azured unprofaned. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. St. George and the Dragon by Edward Doyle. Read for LibriVox.org by Kristen Hand. 1. In English nature did St. George prevail over the dragon? Maybe in the time when England knew not poverty nor crime, described by Cobbett, who would not go bail for falsehood, nor let truth remain in jail. It must then have renewed life from its slime, for through deeds that turned the blood to kime, and eyes white inward, see him ride the gale. In English nature, where now the saint, the spirit to sublime conceptions true, has good St. George, too woundful to renew his conflict with the dragon of base taint, been caught up by Elias from earth's view? How else the dragon's rage in irrestraint? 2. The dragon is grim greed. The saint's long spear that once transfixed it can no longer touch. No land is safe from its sting, blood drain, or clutch, for it takes protean shapes. 'Tis therefore clear, since good St. George has failed to reappear to mortal sight, save in the king's escutch, worn off at edge and blurred with Tudor smudge, freedom must drive the dragon off this sphere. The dragon's soarings cause the sun's eclipse. Hark, is that thunder God's collapsing skies? No, 'tis the eagle with unhooded eyes, and lightning flash from beak to pinion tips, seizing the dragon, that despite its slips from form to form, craft, gold, and false sunrise, cannot elude his eyes in talon grips. 3. A conflict this, refracted cloud to cloud, where a white summit, under crimson seas, and these still heightening. Through far azure peace listens, and eager peeps, then turns head bowed. The conflict circling earth, all plains are plowed, new rows of gulches. God, can aught appease the dragon with fiend's thirsts, eternities for tongue? The sun might, if all were well sloughed. The dragon mounting draws aloft earth's slime, with which to dim the all-producing sun from broadening light and warmth for everyone. But look, the eagle, with the thirst sublime of justice, that the right on earth be done, flashes, and hark, 'tis earth's Te Deum chime. 4. O yea, the earth's Te Deums, visibling as well as voicing forth the joy of nations, fill up the vastest heaven, that of God's patience with human will most grossly reptiling in insecurities worse than negations. And for what blessing are the earth's laudations? The grace to soul, to scorn, to be mere thing. Of this grace was born the eagle's vim, to dash the dragon down in hell so deep, it is a maggot there, which can but creep, and draw Elias's chariots to earth's rim, wherein St. George stands with his heart aleap, as now in labor we catch glimpse of him. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Freedom, Truth, and Beauty by Edward Doyle.